What's going on, guys? So, we're on the Model A this week, and I got some bad news. So, I hustled and tried getting this engine to where it was ready to start, and I didn't video hardly any of it. So, I did get a starter on, got the fuel pump on, got the, everything done engine wise to be able to start it. And it did start. I didn't have it on video, being because my tripod that I actually set my phone up on and stuff broke. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start this and I'll worry about videoing it later. So 15 seconds of running and this engine locked up extremely tight. So whenever it did run, fired right up, moved the distributor a little bit, it fired up and it died. So I adjusted the throttle a little bit, moved the distributor a little bit, that way it sounded better. And it fired right up, sounded great. Very, very loud. It's intense. Didn't even get a chance to really get on it at all. As more of an idle, it was a high idle, probably 1,300 RPMs. I don't know because I don't have the tack on it. But just by the sounds of it, it was a little bit higher of an idle. And the engine started shaking. And before I could even hit the kill switch, it just shut itself off. And not knowing what happened, went and bumped the starter, wouldn't do nothing. So just kind of took a minute, sat, and just started contemplating on what it should not be, like what I don't want it to be. So I grabbed a pry bar and tried turning the engine over, and it is locked up solid both ways, and there's just no unfreeing it. So yeah, that really sucks. I was down a little bit, probably, I don't know, an hour and a half, just kind of thinking like, man, this really sets me back, like very bad, because I still have a shitload of stuff to do. I got the floor, I got the shifter, I got the brakes, I got the steering, I got the radiator, the grill, just so much crap that I have to do. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't have the cash. I have no funds to be able to do this. I barely, this entire build, I just I conjure stuff together, and I do a lot of horse trading with my stuff. And I'm about out of stuff to trade. So, yeah. So, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to get it done by February. Because I still have probably $1,000 worth of stuff that I have to get. Brakes and front end work and radiator alone is probably $500-$600. And then the rest of the stuff is just kind of miscellaneous. So that kind of sucks. But the good thing is the guy that I actually bought this engine off of, he says that he has another one, and it's also 350. And he's actually going to start it, and we'll take a good look at it. And he's going to run it. So we're actually just going to go ahead and pull that one, and it's going to be stuck into this. So luckily, he is being very good about this. It's not going to be anything out of my pocket or nothing like that, except gaskets and crap, which that's not a big deal. So I'm very thankful for that. A lot of people, they just take your money or whatever and just run, So I'm thankful for that. So with all that being said, I'm not going to tear this engine down. I'm not going to do any of that. We're going to pull it out and we're going to swap it. But that's going to be a bit. So until then, I'm going to work on the floor, work on everything else, and work around this engine and actually get it to where it needs to be. So I figured I'd update you guys on that, and that's where we're at. Anyways. All right, so we have a piece of 16 gauge 5x10 sheet. It's actually cheaper for the 16 gauge than it is the 18 gauge. And they also didn't have any 18 gauge. So the 16 gauge costed a little over $100, which was pretty cool because it's not going to be that much money into it. So I'm going to take my stencils, cut all this out, and put this into the car. So I'm going to throw you guys on a time lapse, and that's what we're going to do. All right, what's going on, guys? It's Tuesday, and we're going to finish welding out this floor. And as you can see, I also have some pieces of coat hanger, and we're going to actually stitch the tunnel and this flooring and just kind of make it pop a little bit. So that's going to be the main goal today. Try and get that done at least. Anyways, here we go. All right, so it's all welded, and I gotta say, that looks pretty good. So it's not plain Jane or nothing like that, so that makes it look a little bit better. So I need to get a shifter and get that thing mounted up. But I did find out that the front axle came out of a 80s model CJ7, So I should be able to get a gearbox for it. Only bad thing is gearbox is pretty damn expensive. So once I get the gearbox in, I can get that MacGyvered up, figured out how it goes, and then I can run me a steering shaft. That way I can have steering done and be able to shift it. So the next thing is the brakes after that. And the brakes is going to be a pretty hefty deal because I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. So once we get the steering figured out, we'll get all this other wiring tied up exactly where it needs to go, get it all nice and shiny, and really got to start getting buckled down on this thing. Reason being is because I'm starting to get a little, not stressed, but yeah, stressed. I got 2 months left in this thing, and I've locked up engine. The radiator, I mean, oh man, we got a bunch of crap. So, I think I found me a grill. It is 2.5 hours away in Kingman, Kansas. So, I'm gonna see if I can't get that. It's a Model A grill. It's very, very beat up, but for this build, it would be perfect. So hopefully I can get a hold of that guy, see if he has it still, and if so, then we'll end up making a trip. So we will get that, and I will finish the very back of the floorboard probably sometime this week. But yeah, so I gotta get to moving and gotta get this crap done. Anywho, that's it for today. I'll see you guys whenever I see you. What's up, guys? Back on car. So last night I decided that I will go ahead and spray the floorboards with a mixture. It's basically creates rust. So it's peroxide, salt, and vinegar. And I let it sit overnight. There's still a couple spots that's wet, but it looks really, really good. So I'm going to show you guys what we got going on here. Okay, so that's basically after it has been sprayed. Now seeing this, I really want to do the dash. Not 100% sure yet. I don't know if I want to even take a chance on getting all the electronics and all that crap covered in that stuff. So, but as far as the floorboard, that looks kick-ass. Looks really good. Now, something that I'm going to work on today is, I know we got the back plate that I need to do, and I can do that. I will end up doing that, I guess. But I'm going to go ahead and put a shifter. So I built one, and it's basically going up like an S curve almost. Now it's going to have the hand throttle on it, but now this bar will actually not move. It has its own separate lever built into the bar to where it's going to be able to move. So that's what we're working with. Right now I actually need to get some gears and stuff together to show you guys what's going on. All right, so here is our throttle right there. And this one is actually going to be for the shifter. So what these gears are doing is I have a chain off of actually it's off of a garage door opener, not mine. But found it at Gear Key Scrapyard, and that's going to be connected to here. It's going to run just like that and go to the front up to the carburetor. So I just got to assemble it, and I'll be able to show you guys a lot easier. So here we go. Okay, so I got this welded in and kind of mocked up. So this chain right here is the one that actually will go to the throttle cable. Now, it's only hooked onto a spring right now because that carb has to come off, so I'm not even going to mess with it yet. But we do have a working throttle. Somewhat. I mean, yeah, I know that we still got something to go, but that's pretty cool. So Now, as far as a shifter, I need to get me a cable, and that will come down here and then mount into the transmission to shift it. So, that turned out pretty cool. So now I'll go ahead and spray the shifter too, and we'll get that finished up here. So, yeah, not too bad. What's up, guys? Today's Friday. Thankfully, it's a long week, coming back off of a break. So, yeah, wasn't a bad week though, just a real long one. Now, what we plan on doing today is actually taking down the oil pan of the engine. Curiosity is killing me. I want to see what happened. And, you know, I drained the oil. There's no metal shavings, no anything. And as long as it ran, I mean, it's not going to create too many metal shavings. So, I'm going to drop the pan. We'll see what she looks like. But I did get the seats mounted, and the back plate is welded in. So I'll show you that real quick. So I definitely got some metal shavings in here still, but I got a leaf blower for that. So I got bolted on the bars that I have welded into this car. So all that's taken care of. And as you can see, that back plate is welded in. The battery's sitting back there. I'll end up making a battery box eventually. But for now, just testing wise, it's sitting back there, chilling. So also, throttle linkage, I did get it hooked up to the carburetor. So all that's taken care of. Even though this is coming right back off of the carburetor, it's not a big deal because we have it figured out. So, yeah, the cable does work, so that's cool. But yeah, so I'm gonna drop the pan on this. We're gonna see what we can find. Okay, here we go. We're taking a look here. And as you can see, we lost an entire piston right there. It's not even connected. And I believe that's it up there at the top of the cylinder. It is. So that one's okay. That one's okay. That one's okay. So that is exactly what happened. Actually, here I can show you. We actually got a chunk of a piston right there. I didn't even see that. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to get these pieces out. Oh wow. We demolished that. Trying to get that chunk out right there. All right, I'm gonna need both hands, so I'm gonna try and get this thing out. All right, well, I got that rod out and all the pieces. As you can tell, that actually broke the bottom of that piston out. So got all the chunks out, and we can now rotate the engine, which would be a lot easier taking this apart from the torque converter, because if you couldn't, then there's one bolt at the very top of that might be a pain in the ass trying to get. So that is all loose now. I am going to put the pan back up here. We'll bolt that up, and that'll be that. So now let me show you the piston here. Okay. So here's our piston rod, not the piston, but this is the rod. So right here, it's actually held on. So this is the skirting, and let's see if I can find a good, yeah. So that right there actually rides on that pin right there, along with this. So this looks like it was actually, oh, the other side of this. So there's still more up in there, but it's still attached to the actual piston. So what happened is these pieces right here actually got lodged against the piston beside it, and it got into the crank, and it pressed itself against the block to where the engine would not turn. So that's the reasoning why that was like that. So that kind of sucks. But that's that. All right, I went ahead and hooked up the battery real quick just so I can show you that that did free it. Ignition is off. Let's turn this thing over. So, if you guys can see it up there or not. So, it turns the engine over now. Honestly, if I wanted to, I guess I could just tighten up the piston or the rod beside it, torque it, do everything else, and then just have a 7-cylinder. But we're not going to do that. Luckily, he has another engine, so we'll just get him swapped out here. But it is free now. It's not locked up, so that's a plus. So we'll get that taken care of whenever we can. For the time being, we're just going to keep rocking out on some stuff. Hopefully do the steering sometime, and probably work on the shifter this coming week. So other than that, that's it for this video. Took a couple steps forward, and we took 10 back. So we're getting there. Tiny bit stressed out, but we'll get there. So other than that, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will do my best to keep you guys updated each week. So yeah, thanks again. I'll see you guys later.